What if you woke up one day and realized that you couldn't breathe? What if you looked outside and saw a dark and reddish sky instead of the blue and sunny one you were used to? What if you turned on the news and heard that the Earth was running out of oxygen and that most life forms were doomed to extinction? This is not a nightmare, but a possible future for our planet. A future that could happen in about 1 billion years, according to some scientists. A future that is determined by the fate of our sun, the source of life on Earth. The sun is like a giant nuclear reactor that produces heat and light by fusing hydrogen atoms into helium. But this process is not eternal. The sun is slowly running out of fuel, and as it does, it changes its behavior and appearance. It becomes hotter and brighter, and emits more radiation and solar wind. It also expands in size and engulfs the inner planets of the solar system. These changes have a profound impact on the Earth and its biosphere. They affect the atmosphere, the climate, the geology, and the biology of the planet. They alter the balance of the elements and the cycles of the gases. They threaten the survival of all life forms, especially those that depend on oxygen for respiration. Oxygen is a vital gas for most living beings. It is essential for cellular respiration, the process by which cells convert organic matter and oxygen into energy and carbon dioxide. Oxygen is also important for the ozone layer, the protective shield that blocks harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. But oxygen is not a permanent feature of the Earth. It is a product of photosynthesis, the process by which plants and some bacteria use light, water, and carbon dioxide to produce oxygen and organic matter. Photosynthesis is responsible for creating and maintaining the oxygen-rich atmosphere that we breathe today. However, photosynthesis is not a simple or stable process. It depends on several factors, such as the availability of light, water, and carbon dioxide. It also depends on the temperature and the pressure of the environment, and it is sensitive to the changes in the sun and the Earth. As the sun becomes hotter, it causes more carbon dioxide to break down and react with rocks and minerals on the surface of the Earth. This reduces the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and lowers the global temperature. This also makes photosynthesis less efficient, as plants and algae have less carbon to use. Eventually, the carbon dioxide levels will drop so low that photosynthesis will become impossible. This will happen in about 1 billion years, according to a recent study by Kazumi Ozaki and Chris Reinhard. They used a computer model to simulate the evolution of Earth's climate, geology, and biology over the next several billion years, and found that the oxygen concentration in the atmosphere will decline from 21% today to less than 1% in 1 billion years. This will be the end of the oxygen era on Earth. Without photosynthesis, there will be no more production of oxygen and organic matter. The existing oxygen and organic matter will be consumed by respiration and decomposition until they are completely exhausted. The ozone layer will also disappear, as it is made of oxygen molecules. The result will be a mass extinction of most life forms on Earth. Only anaerobic bacteria, which do not need oxygen and can survive in extreme environments, will remain. They will revert to using other sources of energy such as hydrogen, sulfur, or iron to sustain their metabolism. They will also produce different gases such as methane, hydrogen sulfide, or ammonia that will change the composition and color of the atmosphere. The Earth will look very different from what we see today. It will resemble its early state before the Great Oxidation event of about 2.4 billion years ago, when oxygen first accumulated in the atmosphere due to the activity of cyanobacteria. The sky will be dark and reddish, the oceans will be green and murky, and the land will be barren and rocky. The Earth will be a hostile and alien world, unfit for complex life. But is this the end of the story? Is there any hope for life to adapt and evolve in such a harsh environment? Or is there a way to prevent or delay this scenario from happening? Some scientists have proposed various solutions to extend the lifespan of the Earth and its biosphere. For example, one idea is to artificially increase the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere by releasing it from underground reservoirs or by diverting comets and asteroids that contain carbon. This would enhance the greenhouse effect and warm up the planet, as well as provide more carbon for photosynthesis. Another idea is to genetically engineer plants and algae to make them more efficient at photosynthesis, or to create new types of organisms that can use alternative sources of energy, such as solar, nuclear, or chemical. This would increase the production of oxygen and organic matter and diversify the biosphere. A third idea is to colonize other planets or moons in the solar system, or even beyond, that have more favorable conditions for life. This would require advanced technology and exploration, as well as ethical and social considerations, but it would also offer new opportunities and challenges for life to expand and evolve in different environments. These are some of the possible ways that life could survive or escape the fate of a dying Earth, but they are not easy or guaranteed. They would require a lot of ingenuity, cooperation, and foresight from humans and other intelligent beings if they exist. They would also depend on the values, goals, and preferences of those who make the decisions. Ultimately, the question of what will happen when Earth runs out of oxygen is not only a scientific one, but also a philosophical and moral one. It is a question that challenges us to think about the meaning and purpose of life and the responsibility and legacy of our species. It is a question that invites us to imagine and create the future that we want or that we deserve. What do you think? How would you react if you faced such a scenario? What would you do to save or leave the Earth? What kind of future do you envision for yourself and your descendants? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comment. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.